Welcome back. Now we've got a quick word from our sponsors, Limelight Networks. I think you just heard a quick word from them as they said hello on air. So they're obviously keen to get on. Let's see if they're out there. Neil, are you out there?
Yes, Dom. Yeah, I was a case of hitting the mute button. So yeah, I'm here. How you doing? Good to see you.
How are you? Yes. Are you enjoying the day so far?
Very much so.
Good. Yeah, it's been a whistle-stop tour. My brain is pulsing here. So that was a lot of carrier and telecoms end of the market, which has exhausted me. But we seem to be getting there. And now you've brought someone with you today.
Yes. Jaap, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much for inviting me. First of all, my name is Jaap Haitsma. I'm CTO of the NexGuard division of Nagra, where we do forensic watermarking, and we have been working with Neil and his team to integrate watermarking into the CDN.
Perfect. So first and most importantly, I'd like to thank you, Neil, and Limelight Networks for being our platinum sponsors for Content Delivery Summit today. Without sponsors, these things can't happen. So much appreciated. So yes, big thanks to you for that. Now, do you want to tell us a little bit about what we're going to be talking about over the next 15 minutes?
Yeah, what we'd like to do is talk a little bit about how serverless compute and technologies like Nagra and NexGuard can be used to augment content delivery workflows for our content publisher, content provider partners. As we're seeing more high value content move online, more direct to consumer products, more content aggregators getting all forms of high value content, whether it's short form, long form, sporting events, short form content. So there's a myriad of new content types that are coming out. And of course, top of mind is how, those CPs capture the value of that content that in some cases they've spent a fortune, on license fees for, or fortunes creating. So it's all about value capture and how we can help solve business problems.
Excellent. So normally rights are something that we tend to take a mere conduit status in the network. But it's obviously important that we do understand our customers and what their requirements are. And as you say, they've often spent an enormous amount of money developing that content proposition. So it's really important we don't let that run away. So let me throw some questions at you. And guys, just feel free to respond as you see fit. So, so what are the biggest threats that content providers face as more high value content moves from traditional content aggregators and MVPDs towards the OTT content aggregators and D2C products?
Yeah, would you like to take that first one?
Yes, I can take that one. So what you see, basically piracy, already started with OTT distribution before other professional content providers did that. If now content providers also are distributing their content via the internet, also for pirates, because the internet is global, they can steal it from anywhere. It used to be if you license content, let's say to a cable network, then you have to have the pirates subscribe to that cable network in that country to steal the content. But now, since all these platforms are on the internet, a pirate can, with a VPN, can go to that country and pay with a credit card, etc. So it also gets easier for pirates to steal content.
I've got to unmute myself to keep the questions flowing. Neil, so with more of the high value content moving online, especially with the current wave of direct to consumer products, what steps are content publishers taking to protect their valuable assets?
Yeah, well, I think Jaap has already mentioned one, but we continue to see, conditional access, technologies, things like JWT being used to authorize and authenticate. So instead of it being just, a back-end cursory has Don paid a subscription for this particular event, or is his membership, current and active? We are definitely seeing more levels of distinction there. Like, are you a member? What level of access do you have to content? So more and more of that is getting pushed. That technology is getting pushed to the distribution, and the CDN is becoming more and more active in that. We certainly have other instances of where folks are taking, geo and IP whitelisting and blacklisting to the next level. And, the content publishers not only want to understand, whether their username, passwords, etc. are valid, but those IP addresses, are they coming from consumer VPNs? Are they coming from Tor exit points? So on and so forth. So there's definitely more technology that we're using. And it's not just, a one size fits all. Now we're seeing almost like, a number or a cocktail of different technologies used to try and protect this high value content.
So we've heard about stream piracy in the past for sporting events. How pervasive is the problem, and what content types are most vulnerable to piracy?
Sports piracy, it's a huge problem. It also has to do with how sports rights are sliced and diced and sold to many different operators. To give an example, let's say you're a football fan, the European version of football, and you live in France and you want to watch it. You basically need to get a subscription of 3 pay TV providers to watch the games. And it's not like you're a fan of one team that you basically subscribe to one. No, if you're one team, you even have to get all 3 because they don't have every game, etc. So it gets very cumbersome and very expensive to watch your favorite team. You maybe were willing to pay €25 a month for it, but paying €100 for just now and then watching a game somewhere, it's getting very expensive. And then if you look at professional pirate offers, which usually have everything, thousands of channels, all the games, and you pay less than $10 a month for it. So it's very attractive for people to subscribe to these kind of packages.
Yes, in my experience, I've seen pirate organisations that are far more sophisticated and technically advanced than some professional organisations that I've used. I think they have shorter decision cycles. So sorry, that's a bit off script there. So Neil, what choices does a content provider have to protect their content and discourage pirates from taking the content? And how's the threat landscape evolving as more content moves online? And are the mitigation technologies keeping ahead of the threats?
Yeah, well, it's certainly, to use a term, whack-a-mole, right? This is the classic cat and mouse chase, right? You've got to keep one step ahead of the folks that are pirating the content. And as more content moves online, and it's not just sporting events, but it's even some high value short form content moving online, and of course with relatively cheap, very high quality camera technology rebroadcasting to another platform with pretty good quality isn't as complicated as it used to be a few years ago. So it really is just a case. Again, I don't think that it's just a one technology fits all. If you lock things down too much, then you risk making that content very challenging for your legitimate subscribers. If you leave things wide open, of course, you leave yourself vulnerable for piracy. So I think we're seeing, again, it's a combination of the classic conditional access, tokenization, things like forensic watermarking as the technology is becoming more and more advanced. And Jaap can talk about the latest from NexGuard, but it's now possible to embed watermarks in content and then using machine learning quickly determining the originator of a pirated stream in 5 minutes, in around 5 minutes. And that used to take, you know, anywhere 45 minutes to an hour just a few years ago. So it meant that for short form content, if the content was only half an hour long and it took you 45 minutes to figure out, you know, who was the originator of a pirated stream, the event was over by the time you figured it out. So, you know, we're definitely seeing advances in detection times. And of course, you know, DMCA takedown processes are becoming more efficient. So it's all of those working in unison, really.
So yeah,
Jaap,
actually, I'm going to.
sorry.
So I was going to insert a question now. Yeah, do you want to just in sort of 30 seconds just explain how these technologies work and give us an overview of how you've deployed them?
Yes, well, with watermarking, what we do is we slightly modify the video or the audio such that every subscriber gets a different copy, and that copy then has a unique identifier in the video. This used to be very challenging because what a CDN is good at is pushing the same data to many people. So that's why having edge functions that you can do some processing on the edge is key to make this scalable. In the past, it was very difficult to make watermarking scalable. You could have a small system where you maybe for internal reviews where you had 100 people watching, but going to 1 million was very difficult. So yeah, then having technology compute at the edge is very beneficial because you can still use the caching of the CDN network until the edge, and there we do then some clever processing such that everybody gets a unique stream, and hence if they leak the stream we can detect where it came from. And yeah, sometimes even let's say with the live events, if it's sports, they redistribute it directly, so we can, what we say, we kill the source, because then we know where it comes from. We kill that stream, and then the pirate viewers don't have their stream anymore. Because I think that as an industry we have to do. We have to make it for a consumer very frustrating to watch illegal services, such that they come back to the paid service and pay for the content.
Perfect. And Neil, this one, that segues perfectly back to you. So we're obviously a CDN focused event today. What are the technology challenges that CDN and perhaps content providers as well face to roll out this type of technology? It's quite a sophisticated technology to insert into the workflow. You know, what are the challenges you face, and how have you gone about addressing those?
Well, I think until this point, the CPs had very limited choices on you know, how they can augment custom workflows, right? One of them, the classic way, was to do something way upstream, even of the CDN, or in some cases at the CDN if it's involved in media workflows. But typically, you know, any changes that you make to source files or to the live streams propagate through the CDN. As Jaap said, you know, what we're really good at is delivering the same thing to thousands of people simultaneously. So it's very difficult to do something on a per subscriber basis way up in the workflow. At the other extreme, of course, it's possible to make changes on a per platform basis, whether it's Roku or Apple or you know, any other end device. But then with the myriad of endpoints, it's very, very difficult to keep control of all of those changes. So really, I think we're seeing a point now in the industry where it's possible to make, to augment and to alter workflows in the request response flow of a CDN with a lot of flexibility, way more flexibility than has been afforded in the past with, you know, simple configuration rewrite rule changes. So serverless, and in our case we call it edge functions, it's really the first time that you can get some pretty exciting and innovative changes to that content flow. We're really giving you know, the flexibility, we're giving capability to you know, developers and ops people in our customer base, and we're working with partners like NAGRA to really you know, change that workflow make it way more flexible than it's been in the past, and solve real business problems. So that's what we're all here for.
Mm. And yeah, so as you're taking technologies like this into CDNs such as Limelight and so on, they're obviously offering serverless environments to run technologies like NexGuard and so on. What are the challenges and what's different to the traditional approach to delivering software into CDNs? Is this something that you can box up once and sell to many CDNs, or is this a fairly tailored approach that you're having to take with each CDN at this stage?
I think basically you're talking about challenging, but challenges. I think actually it's less challenges we have now because of the serverless and having possibilities to do something at the edge. As the CDNs, they take care of the scalability of something. We just have to make sure that we have a function that runs in a certain amount of memory, runs with a certain amount of compute. And if we do that, then a CDN like Limelight will say, okay, I can scale that to 1 million connections. So for us, it becomes a lot easier as a watermark technology provider.
Sorry, I cut you off there. No.
So also, yeah, on other CDNs, you can do similar kind of things as well, and we can adapt our solution there as well.
So guys, talk to me about some real world.
Don, from our perspective, I really, working with a partner, technology partner like NexGuard means that we can do a reference integration. We can have a function, and then our customers can have the choice of using NexGuard. We've done the integration once, and then they can have a direct relationship with NexGuard, or they can access that through us. And we build once, sell many, and we're all about making it as easy as possible to roll this technology out.
Okay, brilliant. So guys, both of you, give us some real world examples of the deployment and how it's being used to provide a sort of scalable and cost effective solution.
Neil,
do you want to go first? Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Now, for instance, we have deployed this solution end-to-end with one of the major studios that uses it for e-screening. So it uses the Limelight CDN then with an ads function that does the watermarking, and they use this for their e-screener. And yeah, it's very easy for the end customer because the players can stay the same. Etc. There is nothing you have to do on the player end. Only you have to enable this ads function at the edge of Limelight, and that's it basically.
Perfect. And so just the last one, because we're slightly overrunning, and I've got a very spicy bowl of noodles to scoff before we do the afternoon. I need to have time to have a drink after that. So Neil, what are the benefits of using serverless to the content provider, and why should they care?
Yeah, I think again, this is down to an economic, but we're solving business problems at the end of the day, and something like forensic watermarking. In fact, this is true in general for serverless. The customer only pays for the resources they use when they use them. So they're not reserving, bare metal servers or VMs. They write the function, gets published to us, and then we just charge for the usage, which is the number of times the function gets called and the resources that it uses for the duration of that call. So it's sort of, if you can think of it, it's the most cost-effective way of rolling out this functionality that's only needed when it's needed. There's periods where, of course, you don't really want to be paying for tying up resources that are not being utilized.
Well, listen, perfect. We've run out of time, not least because of my curry. It's nothing to do with you guys. It's been really interesting, great segue to link us from the underpinnings of CDN to have a quick think about what the content provider is doing with their content and how to protect it. And also, it really encompasses everything, because you're talking about serverless computing and edge computing all rolled into one there. So I think it was a great study on how this whole ecosystem is coming together. So Neil, thank you once again for being a sponsor, and thank you for the 15 minutes just now. And likewise, Jaap, as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm sure if anyone else has got any questions, you guys are going to be lurking around for a little while. So find the guys in the chat room at the bottom of the Zoom app. Thank you once again, guys. Right, we're going to take a further 10 minutes break, and then we'll be back for the CDN propositions. Thank you very much.